Well, Eric, fixtures are published, and it's always a great time for cricket followers. The slumber of the close season after the September, and eagerly awaited. It'll come out a little bit later these days. But your first impressions of the list? I mean, I think the early comments have been amongst the positivity. There's always negativity. Some people have highlighted the lack of weekend cricket, but I guess it's been difficult this year to build a schedule around the World Cup.
It has, yeah. It's there's been a lot of toing and froing between the counties and ECB. And Alan Fordham at ECB has worked incredibly hard to put that fixture list together. It isn't perfect, but as we've said many times, I think there's probably too much cricket, not enough summer. And the World Cup in 2019 has clearly had an impact on the schedule and the opportunity to schedule perfectly all three competitions. So as we've seen, the 50 over is a block at the beginning of the season. There are a limited number of weekend days for county championship cricket. And that is unfortunate, but unfortunately there was no other way of scheduling the competitions.
No, indeed.
2020 will be different. Obviously we'll see the new 100 and the impact that will have. But the 2019 World Cup has had a huge impact.
Yeah, indeed. You mentioned the One Day Cup. That comes in the block which relates really to the old B&H competition, which was always very well received by counties and the supporters. So they come thick and fast and regularly. And then we move into a block of championship fixtures.
Yes.
A little bit later this year. I think we had so many early on last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
April and May, the season was nearly half over, which is fine if the weather is kind to you. If it's not, teams are trying to play catch up, as Essex know all too well. So that is a positive, isn't it?
It is.
Hopefully the better weather and the whole block of fixtures. I think was there 5 continuous championship matches, one after the other, without any other interruption, which is a positive.
It is a positive. I know we're playing 2 away games first, which will upset a few people, I'm sure, but it is a positive. I mean, the 50 over in a block, the county championship starting when the weather and pitches are at a different sort of stage of evolution in terms of the calendar is very important. And then obviously we've got the block of T20 Blast in the height of summer.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, talking the T20, that doesn't alter in the format or the scheduling, does it?
No.
The home matches, obviously, more discussion points, I'm sure, at the end of the season with the new format for 2020 the new competition, the 100 ball over, that's for another time. So that looks, in one respect, it does look a little bit better balanced, I think, than last year's fixtures where different matches were breaking out at all different times, and everyone seemed to know quite what they were doing. So that's a positive. We've got two very the exciting prospects of 2 more women's internationals here, haven't we? West Indies and Australia in the Ashes, which is going to be it's a tremendous feather in the cap for everybody at Chelmsford to be asked to stage those 2 games.
Absolutely. I mean, England women love playing here, as we know, and 2 competitive games in the height of summer, one during the school holidays and one just before the school holidays. It's great for the club, I think. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and people have latched on. They've voted with their feet to latch onto those, haven't they? I mean, we've had probably 4 or 5 years now of hosting women's internationals here, and the crowds have grown each year, haven't they?
Yeah, and we're expecting sellouts for the 50 over and for the T20. Repeat of the World Cup final in many respects, the first Test game.
Indeed, and all that hinges around you as a marketing opportunity. Get the membership packages in because it's going to give you a seat, isn't it, to attend all these, and they are now on sale and probably make, as we speak now, a good Christmas present for people.
Absolutely right. The memberships have been on sale now for getting on for 4 days. So,
and I think looking back on last season anyway, Essex have shown that they can be an established Division 1 club. On the championship side, we've seen so many exciting competitions. I mean, cricket gets this notion, I think, of excitement, and people think of limited overs, be it 50 overs or 20 overs. But some of those championship matches could not be surpassed for excitement. Finishing in that last game with Surrey.
Absolutely, it was a cracking end to the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
And good to beat Surrey.
Indeed, which is always nice, isn't it? The other thing as well that you would have been very actively involved in are contract talks with people. with players, and you've been delighted that, well, first of all, Alastair Cook a little bit earlier on committed himself to another 3 years for Essex, which is tremendous, isn't it? And shows really what the county mean to him, and he still feels he's got business with the county, which is wonderful. But latterly, Simon Harmer, a great, that was a great coup, wasn't it, getting Simon to sign, and Ravi Papara.
Yeah, no, I think Alastair earlier in the season, a 3-year commitment is fantastic for us, potentially across all 3 formats of the game. Simon has signed a year's extension to a 2-year contract that he already had, and it's great that he was so enthusiastic about doing that. And as you say, Ravi signing on for yet another year. There'll be another couple of announcements in the weeks to come, certainly with a focus on the T20 competition.
Right.
And we shouldn't forget Peter Siddle signing up for 2 years earlier in the season as well. So it's been very, very good news for us.
Yes, you mentioned Peter Siddle. I mean, are we sort of happy that his commitments to Australia won't impact necessarily too much, or is that? I mean, it's just the nature of international cricketers. You never actually know their availability almost until the day, do you?
You never know. I mean, Peter's signed up for 2 formats of the game in both seasons. Obviously, with the opportunity to take a rest from one format of the game. It would be ironic if he were called up by Australia again, but. Good on him if he is in many respects, but we obviously selfishly hope he isn't. Yeah,
and I suppose behind the scenes as well, there are irons in the fire to, if you like, address any particular problem.
There's plan B.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we look forward to those the next 2 announcements anyway, and thanks for your time there. And the message, I'm sure, for Essex members is get those membership packages, get your seat. Another season of exciting cricket awaits.
Absolutely, and we're certainly keen on improving on our position in the Championship from last year, and indeed improving our position in both 50 over and T20 as well.
Yes, indeed. I mean, because we'll ask about that. Financially, I suppose maybe you don't get any rewards directly from the ECB for finishing positions, do you? I mean, not that would impact heavily, but the credibility of the club as a Division 1 club carries so much favour, and the marketing people have that opportunity to capitalise on that, don't they?
And from the club's perspective, if we win the competition, then the club does get a bonus. Obviously, there's a player bonus pool which is ring-fenced for players, 1st, 2nd and 3rd positions. But if we win the championship, then there's a meaningful sum of money that comes in as a championship bonus to the club. But also we will have obviously been selling well during the season. And next year is important because we'll see 1 down and 3 up in order to get to a 10-8 divisional split rather than the 8-10 that exists at the moment.
Yes. Any particular thoughts on that, the merits of 10-8 or?
I personally think 10-8 makes more sense than 8-10.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But the imbalance
with 2 up and 2 down in future years, which is the way it will work.
Yeah.
So the opportunity to go up from the 2nd division into the 1st division increases, and the opportunity to be relegated, i.e. this previous season 25% of the division could get relegated. That's a hell of a lot of teams as a percentage going down from one division to the next.
It is, particularly as in most team sports, a lot of teams, although Essex bucked that trend, but they do take a while to establish themselves in a higher division, don't they? Often consolidation is the key word rather than expecting to win.
Or winning the championship.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, you're mentioning the 10-8 split. The only anomaly seems to be the fact that it's a bit of a lottery who you might play twice, and there's just one. In an ideal world, you would play, I'm sure, every team twice. But presumably, the fixture schedule just doesn't allow for that.
It doesn't allow for that, unfortunately. No,
indeed.
No. So it's not perfect, but we don't live in a perfect world.
No.
Back to the beginning of the conversation, ECB are working their socks off to try and get a fixture list that can work.
Yes, indeed. Derek, thanks for your time, and it's given us plenty to look forward to anyway in the months ahead, and I'm sure the days will soon pass and we'll be looking out on that green sward out there, watching white flannel fools doing their business.
We will. Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks, Derek.